Welcome once again, folks. Boris Spassky, as we all know, is a legend. He was the 10th World Chess Champion, holding the title from 1969 to 1972, when he was ultimately defeated by the maverick chess genius Bobby Fischer. Today, we will analyze a game played between Vishwanathan Anand and Boris Spassky. This game was played at the Youth vs Veterans tournament held at Cannes in 1989. Let's see the game. The game started with e4, e5, nf3, nc6, bishop b5, a6, bishop a4, knight f6, castle, bishop e7. This is the famous Relobes opening closed variation. So Anand plays rook e1, Boris Spassky plays b5, bishop goes to b3, d6, c3, castle, h3 preventing bg4, knight b8. This is the Breyer variation and has been Spassky's favorite. Anand responds d4, Spassky plays knight b d7, and now Anand plays c4. Remember, knight b d2 is the routine line. By playing c4, Anand wants to stay away from the main line, which was Spassky's comfort zone. Spassky played c6, Anand played a3. Knight c3 could have been met by b4. a3 was responded by b into c4, bishop captures at c4, d5, e into d5, c into d5, bishop goes to a2, e4 attacking the knight, knight goes to e5, bishop b7, knight c3, knight b6. Now if you can see, the game is centered on the d5 pawn. White plays f3. The idea is to get white queen to f3 and put pressure on d5. Also, later the pressure can mount upon f7 as well. Spassky plays rook c8. The threat is to win a pawn by capturing a3 with his bishop. Anand plays bishop b3. By playing bishop b3, Anand steers away from the current threat. Spassky plays bishop a8. Idea is to bring bishop to a supported square so that it can allow capture at f3 and post the knight at c4. Anand plays bishop g5. Spassky responds by rook c7. Actually, black could have gone ahead with his plan of e into f3 and finally getting his knight at c4. But the game continued with rook c7. Rook c7 was responded by rook c1. Spassky played nf d7. Bishop now comes to f4 with the hope of some discoveries here. Black plays bishop g5. Now the position is pretty interesting here with a lot of combinative possibilities. Here white played bishop into g5, but Anand could have played knight f7, leading to a very interesting variation. Let's look at that variation. To bg5, Anand could have played knight into f7. This would have been responded by rook into f7. Bishop captures at c7 attacking the queen. Queen captures the bishop. Knight captures the pawn at d5. Queen captures the rook at c1. Queens get exchanged. Bishop into c1. Knight into b6. Bishop d2 attacking the rook. Knight into d7. Bishop into e1. Knight comes to e5 attacking the rook, but the rook cannot move because it's already pinned by the white bishop. King comes to f8. Bishop into f7. And with two pawns up, it's winning position for white. But Anand chose to play the safer route here. So to bishop g5 in the original game, instead of playing knight into f7, Anand chose to play bishop into g5. Black responded queen into g5. Anand captured the pawn at e4 with his f pawn. Black replied d into e4. Now Anand played queen g4. Now remember, you cannot capture the pawn at e4 with knight. Okay, if you play knight e4, this will result into bishop into e4, rook into e4, rook into c1, and white loses. Okay, and that's why Anand played queen g4. The queens got exchanged. And here, Spassky played g6. This is a weak move by Spassky, which creates some holes in his king side. White responded by playing nf2, which pressurizes the e4 pawn. Black responded by playing re8, supporting the e4 pawn, and now d5. This blocks the black bishop from protecting the e4 pawn. King goes to g7. Now this move loses the pawn. In fact, black should have played e3 here. Let's check this variation. So to d5, if you play e3, the game can continue as knight g4, e2, rook goes to c2, bishop into d5, knight into d5, knight into d5, rook e into e2, rook into e2, rook into e2, n7 f6, and the game is nearly equal. So king g7 was kind of a weak move. In this position, instead of playing king g7, black should have played e3, but Spassky played king g7. The game continued knight f into e4, knight into d5. Black seems to have recovered the pawn since black knight cannot be captured here, but it's not so actually. White ends up winning a pawn. Let's see how the game continued. Knight went to d6, rook into e1 check, rook into e1, knight at 5 f6. This allows white rook to capture the 7th rank and gobble the pawn at f7. Okay, rook comes to e7, capturing the 7th rank. Black rook goes to c6, rook into f7 check, king h6, knight c4, rook e6, and here black is trying to attempt and paralyze white rook's movements, but it works for some time, not for long. White plays king f2, black replies king g5, bishop goes to c2. The idea is to get the white knight on e4. Black plays bishop c6, adding protection to the knight on d7 so that the knight on f6 is free. White plays knight d2, black plays h5, knight b3, knight e5 attacking the rook, rook a7, knight e g4 check, h into g4, knight into g4 check, king goes to f1. Now remember, king g1 cannot be played, alright? There is a mate which is coming from rook e1, okay? Similarly, king g3 cannot be played. There is a mate via rook e3 check, okay? And hence, king f1 is the only move left. So n into g4, you cannot play king g3, you cannot play king g1, king f1 is the only move, okay? King f1, knight e3 check, recovering the piece. King g1, knight into c2, rook into a6, bishop d7. Idea is that black can still fight for a draw in the endgame once the rooks are off board. Rook into e6, so rooks are getting off board. It's actually better to avoid rook exchange, but anyways, Anand exchanged the rook. Bishop into e6, knight c5 attacking the bishop, bishop c4, a4, king f4, and this move spoils any chances of draw for black. King f5 or nb4 was somewhat better. a5 pawn is threatening, it is going to be a queen. King f4 opens up all the possibilities for Anand to take the a pawn towards queening. Okay, let's see how the game went. It's quite interesting now. Anand played a5, knight b4, pushing all the forces to prevent the a pawn from queening. b3, attacking the bishop. Bishop goes to f7. Now Anand plays a brilliant tactical shot. Can you find out what Anand played? Pause the video here for 10 seconds and try to find out the best move. Ready? Did you find it? Anand played knight d3 check. Okay. Knight into d3, you don't have an option. Knight into d3 was played. a6, bishop e8, knight d5 check, and black resigned here. The game could have continued as king e5, knight e7, not allowing the bishop to come to the c6 square, king d6, a7, bishop c6, knight into c6, king into c6, a8 equal to queen, and it's all over for black. So quite a positional game, and ultimately Anand came up with a beautiful tactical shot in the end game, which led to queening of his a pawn, and thus he won the game. Hope you like this game. Meet you next week again. Till then, goodbye.